Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here, and I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day. This is a Mother's Day weekend. I would like to say, first of all, a happy Female Day to all the women, and a happy Mother's Day for all of the mothers. And that includes my mother and yours. But for some strange reason, for the past couple of days, there have been two women on my mind that I felt that I need to say thanks to them. I want to say thanks again before I say that to all of the women who are not just trying to be mothers of children, but mothers to situations in life that makes it better for all of us. So I'm talking about the possibilities of every female out here to do something wonderful, we as people. These two ladies that I'd like to highlight today for just a moment is Kamala Harris, who was vice president of the United States and ran for president and presented herself as the best possible candidate for this nation, but was rejected because this nation was not deserving of anyone as qualified, as compassionate, as decent as Miss Harris. So America lost out there. And as America has seen in this past 100 days, it's absolutely true. They bought a rotten egg. The other lady that I'm impressed by is Jasmine Crockett. It seems as if this is the first year, perhaps the first few months I've ever heard of that name, but as I listen and pay attention to it, I see the name has been out there for a minute. A young lady that has been engaged in a lot of stuff. And I must say that I am really persuaded that Miss Crockett is unique for what she was coming to the world to do. See, Miss Crockett and Miss Harris are not designed to do the same thing. They can probably both do it, but they are not designed to do the same things. But what they've been designed to do, they're good at. Now, Miss Crockett, this woman seems to have paid attention to making people recognize that she's no phony. When she comes at you, you better believe she's prepared to take you down or to let you know she's coming. And she's not afraid. She's the kind of woman that would make partners with, I don't know. I was thinking about, let me leave Miss Crockett alone. Is she married? I was thinking about she might make some husband a wonderful wife. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if he is anything like she is, they could work some wonderful stuff together. Now, he can't be weaker than she. No. No, that's just not going to work. They need to both be strong. And she is strong. And when I say strong, I'm not just talking about the ability to say something, but the ability to say that which is valuable. Truth. I love that about that woman. In fact, she's sort of like my wife is sort of like that. The difference is my wife is a social worker and Miss Crockett is in the legal profession. My wife, she's retired now, but she can handle her job just as well as it is supposed to be handled. Me, I'm I fit in there somewhere. But here's the problem that I have today, ladies and gentlemen, is that as I listen to Miss Crockett talk, and I listen how she reach and grab people, I know that there are those out there who can't stand Miss Crockett. See, Miss Crockett represents truth, and those who can't stand her represent alternative truth. That is to say that Miss Crockett represents freedom. Those alternative truth people represents bondage, and they have no problem with it. The challenge that's going on today is that we all live in this world and we all have those same basic essentials for life that God put in one, He put in all. But there are some some of us, for one reason or another, we've heard that it might be demon possessed. We heard it might be a spirit, a war begun between the spirits, something that's happening outside ourselves that we're being used. And we've heard so much stuff, and we've heard lies and assault and alternatives till we just get so confused that we don't see it with our own eyes. We don't believe it, and sometimes we see it with our own eyes and still don't believe it. But there's something that the world can't give you, man can't give you. The only thing that this can come from is God. The world can't give it, the world can't take it away. This is joy that God gives as a reward for those who walk in the path of life. And those that's walking the path of life can walk up on the cross. Now, and I'm not saying that's the first choice they're running to get up on the cross, but you can bet they're committed to go up on the cross. And anything that's good before getting to the cross, they'll do that. That so perhaps you don't have to walk to the cross. It is sad, my friends, that you got a man who is trying to destroy America. This man is not trying to strategize and do anything. I mean, Russia couldn't do any worse than what Donald Trump doing. Putin, without just putting out the gun and start shooting, he couldn't do any worse than Donald Trump is doing. She or 11 could do no more to America than what Donald Trump is doing. I mean, what good thing is supposed to be happening to America because of Donald Trump's action? One thing, and they talk about getting rid of people of color, making America straight for white people. Now, they don't want, not everybody is saying, not all white people saying that with words, but they're all saying it with action. They're all saying it with action. Now, you might say, well, why do I say that? I tell you why I say it, because they've lived through it. And if it is decided to repeat itself, they'll live through it again. He said, well, the black folks lived through it before. If they are required to, will they do it again? I'll answer you by saying this. There was a guy on television, soap box, uh, not too long ago, and he told the people, don't worry. And he was a black man. He said, don't worry, because daddy is home. Now, for a black man to sit on national media and tell the world that we can say what we want to say about white people, but this man who tried to take over this country, this man who was so unfit that the representatives tried several times to send his butt home, and the Senate said, we need him. This black man is sitting there calling him daddy and says, so you ask yourself, are there people like that? Of course there is. But see, here's the key, ladies and gentlemen. When you know, you know. Miss Harris knew what she was up against, and Miss Crockett knows what she's up against. And anybody that's trying to make this a better world know what they are up against. Whoever it is, it might be you, or who knows, it just might be me. You see, I focus on what is best for all of the people, not just America. I don't focus on what's just for America. I was taught that's what you're supposed to do. You so like when I was a kid, and many of you who are old now, when you were taught when you were a kid, you were taught that you were supposed to fight. You were taught that you were supposed to use a gun. You were supposed to be willing to kill anybody. You know how they told us this nation was conquered for white people, and we had us all thinking at the time that it was for us all. We didn't know they just said that because some was being abused and misused and exploited for the benefit of others. We talked about Germany, World War II. They used to show that stuff on television, show you how mean and cruel the soldiers were. They show you how mean, cruel the people were treated so bad, and you made you feel like, oh, America real is great. But we don't do that stuff over here until yesterday. Yesterday you saw people being treated the same identical way. So what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, as far as we know here in America, We've never had the opportunity to live free. We've never had the opportunity to live in peace and be prosperous. We've never had the opportunity to live and experience happiness and joy. We've never had the opportunity to experience and live our dreams. We never had the opportunity, all of us here in America, to live never having to worry about food or clothing or shelter, never having to worry about education or health care or transportation. Nah, we've never, all of us, had that kind of liberty, had that kind of freedom, had that kind of privilege here in America. We never had that. But we have been told that that stuff exists, perhaps in another world. The people who are here that can experience those kinds of things are the people that's blessed, they told us. They're the ones who have that connection with God, they told us. This has been handed down for them to rule and control and enjoy that kind of a life while the rest of us have to go through, you know, what you're going through. I don't have to tell you. Isn't that something? Well, it seems to me, ladies and gentlemen, that the simplest thing for any of us to understand, I do know if you are empathetic, compassionate, and care about people, then you will understand the secret of life. All of those things that I just got through mentioning that all of us would love to experience, but only some of us do and most of us don't. It's a simple matter. It's almost as simple as going to the faucet and getting you a glass of water. You see, all of that stuff that I just got through mentioning, all that stuff is produced by people, human beings, you and I, here in America and everywhere else where human beings work. So although we, and the only thing that is required, since all of us benefit and profit from stuff on earth, the only thing that is required, the only thing that is required is that we all participate, that we all have a career, have a job, that we all help make the food, the clothing, the education, the healthcare, the transportation, the boats, the planes, that we all engage in that part of it that gives us our greatest joy. We find ourselves loving because we're not working for money. We're working for joy that only comes from God. And it comes from God because we've been blessed enough to do what we have been given to do, to come into this world to do. And as we've done what and are doing what we came into this world to do, we don't have to suffer for nothing. Our needs, our wants, and our desires are met. Ooh, so simple. No lying, no cheating, no stealing, no killing, no hatred, no racism, no bigotry, no war. No, I just shared that with you about all people on the face of the earth. And since everybody on the face of the earth wants that, you would think that anybody that was standing against are those who are possessed by that, what they call that spirit, that demonic spirit that we can't see until it comes and possess people. And then they start lying, start talking alternative truth, start hating. That's the only evidence of that spiritual warfare that's taking place against people and their peace and their freedom and their prosperity and joy and happiness in life. But you've been raised up your whole life that allows you to accept and participate and be a part of what you are. And it does not include what I just shared with you. That is a change. That requires a choice that you must make. Not based upon what somebody else is saying, not based upon what somebody else is doing, but what you will do based upon what you know. That's where we are today. And you can choose to stay on out here in this hell, but you can't blame anybody. You can't blame the church. You can't say they misled you. You can't blame the government, Republicans or Democrats. They didn't mislead you. You misled yourself because you refused to accept the truth. And you refuse to accept the truth. Why? Well, I'm going to let you answer that. I'm going to leave that to you. But for me, Miss Crockett and Miss Harris, you're just two people today. But you represent millions of women out there, black women. And I'm going to have to say some white too. Now, you know it's going to be tight, but there are some white women out here that's just as loving as any black woman. And I want to say there are some white men out here that's just as compassionate as any black man, but I'm going to hold back on that because I don't know that to be true. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've given you what I've been given to give. You do what you have been given to do. And until then, Eddie Marcus say goodbye for now.